I am standing in the pasture right now after spending 10 minutes undoing like a situation. And it's funny because I had initially thought I should do like a video about like why I choose to work with primarily horses that have been like abused and rescued and rehab them, and like why secondhand is amazing and rewarding. And so I was like kind of planning that out, thinking about my reasons and my thought process. And so right before I was about to do that, I dragged hay nets up into the upper paddock, which is like a different place than I normally put them. I normally put them down by the barn, but I want to get them moving a little bit more. It's just been cold and they kind of stand stagnant. So I moved the hay nets up, and they didn't want to come through the gate to go get them. So I went to grab a halter so I could lead Fenrir up. And Fen saw the halter and was like, nope, and went into a tizzy. And what he'll do is we're working through it, and this is like the worst I've seen, but he's starting to understand that the halter means work, so I have to undo that a little bit. But and it's not even hard work. But anyway, he saw the halter and was like, dude, it's morning time and I'm hungry, like no. And tried to avoid me. So what he'll do is he'll use Mule as a shield. So he'll just like kind of walk behind him, and Mule, being a mule, will just kind of stand and move very slowly. In fact, he moves sort of like a ship. If you were to look down like a drone or bird's eye view, he moves sort of like angularly, whereas Fen will like bend and move and weave. So anyway, so at this moment, Fen decided he was gonna bolt and kick out, which is like not awesome. So of course then I had to be like, that's the wrong answer, and let him know, which I don't like to do because obviously like he's been dealt with a heavy hand, like, but anyway, you can't fucking do that. So we dealt with it, and finally, like, once he realized he wasn't going to be hurt, he was able to calm down. We did our little breathing exercise, and I got the halter on him, and the moment I got the halter on, I took it off because we'd already ended up in this paddock anyway, and they found the hay, so like everything's fine. And they're both standing right here. So anyway, I guess the thing I wanted to talk about was why secondhand, for lack of a better word, is like what I go for. Because if I were to just get a horse that had been raised, kindly with the least amount of trauma possible, then I probably wouldn't be doing this. Spending time like catching a horse that thinks I'm about to kill him, or like yesterday I spent 45 minutes working to reduce tension on the girth line just with my hands. So Fen is an interesting character, and so is Mule, and so were my other two rescues. And I mean, every horse has personality, and every horse has quirks, and every horse has trauma, but it is a bit of a different beast when this horse has been clearly through the physical, emotional, and I would argue like spiritual ringer. And I choose to do this because I'm a fixer, I think, or at least like I believe that everything and everybody has like an innate right to exist, and exist like peacefully in their body. And so I don't like, I am going to eventually ride Fen, and like, yeah, eventually I'd love for him to do things like that, but that's like not the main push for having him and Mule, and nor was it my main push for having like Teddy and Cole. I think being somebody who's been through trauma, and everybody's been through trauma, but like I have also been through trauma and some serious stuff, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, and having found the path towards trying to feel good in my body and my brain and my spirit, I found that I think everybody deserves that, and everything deserves that. So when I think about my horses and the direction I go with them, like, it wouldn't be super challenging for me to just get into like competitions and buy a warm blood and go do this thing and just be like, yes, I'm doing it. Look, I can ride. It's a lot less about that for me. And like, if that's what it's about for you, I think that's freaking awesome. And there's a place for everybody in all of this. Like, there's a place for fancy warm bloods. There's a place for wanting to be like excellent in competition or make it to the Grand Prix or whatever it is you do. Like, you know, me saying that's not for me doesn't make it any less worthy. But if you're one of those people that is like drawn to these damaged horses, damaged by humans, and you're like, what can I do to be part of this? For me, it's about like, I want them to feel safe in their brain and in their body. That's the primary goal for me. I want them to be able to handle themselves. Not for me, not because I have riding ambitions, not because of anything, but because that these two horses deserve to feel peace in their bodies and their minds. And I think that's what it is for me. That's my drive, because I would hope that anybody would want that for their animals. And it's much harder to accomplish when they are, I mean, Fenn's 4 to 6 years old, and he should be well beyond where he is right now if you're talking about a horse that was raised non-traumatically and trained properly. And like Marion, my filly, she will be miles beyond where he is when she hits this age. We could be riding in like competitions if we wanted to when she's 4 or 5 years old. We won't be, but we could. But it doesn't matter, I suppose, what he should be. What he is right now is very nervous, and he can't decide if he's terrified or if he's going to come at you, like he's going to run away in terror or come at you in terror. He doesn't frontally come at me. He likes to kick. That's like his thing. He won't charge at me, but he'll turn his ass around and like swing. And I like that he's started to get there. Like for the first few weeks, he wouldn't. He was frozen. And I was like, this horse is a loaded gun. But now that he's starting to get comfortable, we're starting to get to know each other, he's starting to understand the routines. He's like, oh, she's going to touch my stomach if she puts that halter on. Fuck that. Even though he probably knows I'm not going to hurt him. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, if you watch me touch his stomach, he's just a ball of nerves, shaking and flinching, and it's awful. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit off track. My point is, I was going to make a video that was like real, like, this is why I choose rescue horses. But instead I made a video in response to a moment where my rescue horse was reacting to something that had caused him either mental or physical pain in the past, and we had to work through it. And unfortunately in the process, Mule threw a shoe, so I gotta call my farrier now.